Thor has been on many different journeys throughout his life, and throughout the multiverse, some of which have even led to more powerful and at times more worthy characters to take up the mantle. Welcome back, Nerd Squad! Today we'll be taking a look at some of these Thors from throughout history and across time and space in the Marvel multiverse, as we count down the top 10 most powerful alternate versions of Thor. Let's get counting. Number 10. Thor of the Thunders. Thor of the Thunders is also known as the man named Donnell, an old man who hails from the reality of Earth 311, the world often referred to as 1602, which was created by Neil Gaiman and Andy Kubert. Thor of the Thunders was the godlike form that Donnell took upon slamming his artifact, a wooden stick, to the ground. The Doom of this reality attempted to steal this magical artifact but was unable to do so, as he dismissed the stick, which Donnell then used to transform into his Thor form. Thor of this reality is believed to be the god of storms, thunder, lightning, and agriculture. His very existence is considered very controversial considering the time period and the power and beliefs belonging to the Catholic Church. Number 9. Thunderstrike. Eric Masterson might not be around in the comics anymore, but when he was around, he was pretty powerful. He became merged with Thor Odinson for a time and at one point replaced him as Thor as well. Eric was considered worthy enough to wield Mjolnir, but is also known for his own specific weapon, which also inspires his superhero name of Thunderstrike, based on the Thunderstrike mace. Eric died before he could even fully comprehend all the power that the mace offered. One of the most powerful abilities it granted, though, in my opinion, was that of teleportation, allowing Eric to open up portals to anywhere he chose, even allowing him to travel to other dimensions, or possibly alternate realities. Trans-dimensional travel capabilities are always super OP to me, especially when they come from a time period where they weren't as clearly defined, meaning that they could basically be as limitless as the story required. Them's the best time for crazy powers. The times when we didn't have to define anything. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more like it, be sure to show us by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. Asgardian. Billy Kaplan as Wiccan is definitely ramping up to be one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel multiverse, but before he was known as such, he went by a different name and style. When he was just starting out as a hero, Billy was a member of the Young Avengers, and inspired by Thor, took up the mantle of Asgardian, styling himself as such. The name didn't end up sticking, and only lasted for a few issues before he decided to change it to Wiccan in issue 6 of Young Avengers, which more suited his magic-based power set. However, it is important to note that Asgardians are known for being tied to magics as well, so while Billy was just starting out and the name didn't last long, in a way his magics do kind of tie him to the Asgardians, who are also sometimes known for being mystical. They are mystical, cosmic, and mythological, but it depends on the story as to which aspect is more highlighted. Billy, as Asgardian in this Thor Styles, is really only being ranked so low for his lesser ties to Thor, but power level wise at this point, he's pretty off the charts. Number 7. Groot Thor. Groot Thor is one of my favorite alternates. He appeared as one of the members of the Thor Corps on Battleworld. Other than the reality of Battleworld, we don't really know exactly where he comes from. He could even perhaps be a combination of two alternate characters for all we know. Anything is possible on the patchwork world of God Emperor Doom's Battleworld. Groot Thor, however, possesses the combined powers of both Thor and Groot, presumably from Earth 616, which would make him pretty crazy powerful, as both of those heroes are capable of great feats. So combine their abilities and you get one strong and capable character. Groot Thor ended up joining up with Jane Foster, who is also Thor, in the rebellion against God Emperor Doom, whom the Thor Corps originally worked for. Instead of only saying "I am Groot," he instead only speaks the phrase "I am Thor," which makes me laugh. It's great. I love Groot. He's one of my favorites. Number 6. Rune Thor. Rune Thor is one of the alternate Thors who appeared on Battleworld as a member of the Thor Corps. His fellow Thor ended up turning against him after they realized that Rune Thor had turned pretty evil and was killing all the alternate Jane Fosters and Donald Blakes that he could find. Rune Thor proved powerful enough to beat and eventually kill, as a result of his injuries, an alternate version of Beta Ray Bill, also part of the Thor Corps, who was known as Stormbreaker Ray. Rune Thor, however, would also be taken down in the end by another member of the Thor Corps who was investigating the case involving the missing persons. The Janes, the Donalds. the missing persons. Number 5, Ultimate Thor. Thunderer Thor Leaf, as he was known during his Battleworld days, was the one responsible for defeating Rune Thor and killing him in the end. This version of Thor initially forgot who he was, and for a while in the Ultimate line, he was just a nurse by the name of Thorleif Goleman, who believed he was human. In the end, however, Thor would begin to remember Asgard, experiencing what others believed were delusions. Even readers thought he might actually be going insane, and we weren't really sure if he was really Thor or if it was all in his head, but later on it was revealed that he was in fact the real deal, the Norse god of thunder, and the real Thor in the Ultimate Universe of Earth 1610. Thor was established as one of the most powerful characters in the entire Ultimate Universe, and even when he doesn't have his innate powers, which would later be restored to him by Odin, he has his EDI biomechanical suit to back him up, which grants him abilities and attributes similar to his godlike ones. Number 4, Goddess of Thunder. Jane Foster has been known by many different heroic mantles. One, she is a doctor, which kind of makes her like an everyday hero. That's like an everyday hero mantle. And 2, she is currently a Valkyrie and was one of the last Valkyries besides, well, until the return of the Valkyries, which kind of semi-randomly happened during the King in Black event. But in between, Jane Foster was known as Thor, taking up the mantle after Thor Odinson was deemed unworthy during the original Sin event. In many ways, Jane was considered to rival Thor in power, and at times even bested him. She also took up the mantle despite having cancer in her human form, and despite the fact that transforming into Thor basically canceled out the effects of her chemo, meaning that her cancer was only getting worse and worse from her transformations. So even though it was killing her, she was like, I'm still gonna be Thor. And man, you gotta respect Jane for that. That's pretty crazy. Number 3, MCU Thor. The Thor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe became so powerful that he didn't even need to have a hammer to use his power. This is a Thor who realized the power was inside him all along in Ragnarok, and despite becoming Bro Thor in Avengers Endgame due to, well, his depression surrounding losing Asgard and then being unable to defeat Thanos, still was immensely powerful throughout that film. In fact, the Russo brothers confirmed in a post on Reddit that Bro Thor was no weaker than he was previous to this state, and he remained super powerful, but he was just going through some stuff at that time. In Avengers Infinity War, Thor was able to restart the Forge at Nidavellir with the help of Rocket, doing the unthinkable and holding the iris that focuses the neutron star within the Forge open himself, which meant he himself was hit with the star's powerful energy. Thor held the iris open long enough to ensure the top of Stormbreaker at least was forged, which when you think about it and you talk about it, it's kind of weird. But when it happened in the movie, you were like, oh, that's nice. Number 2, Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill deserves a lot of respect for just how powerful he is. So powerful, in fact, that even Odin was forced to recognize him after he bested Thor in combat. This happened back when Thor, being separated from his hammer, turned him back into Donald Blake. Remember those days? While he was separated from Mjolnir, Bill managed to get his hands on Blake's cane and summon Mjolnir's power for himself, being deemed worthy to wield it. This prompted Thor and Beta Ray Bill to battle over who should possess Mjolnir, and Beta Ray Bill was actually the victor of that fight. However, despite winning, and despite the fact that the fight was to the death, he decided to actually spare Thor's life. Odin decided to acknowledge his power, seeing how great of a warrior he was, and made him his own Asgardian weapon to wield moving forward, known as Stormbringer. Also, Scuttlebutt. I just like saying the name of that ship. Scuttlebutt. It's a good name. Number 1, King Thor. One of the most powerful alternate versions of Thor, hands down, has to be the alternate future version from Earth 14412, King Thor. This isn't just because of his power as ruler of Asgard and Allfather, a power which Thor would actually rename as the Thor Force once inherited, but this version of Thor has also bonded with and wielded the all-black Necro Sword, and was also known for a time by another, more powerful name and mantle, King Phoenix. This happened after Wolverine relinquished the Phoenix Force and thereby his life to supercharge Mjolnir in helping King Thor to defeat Doom, because that's basically what he needed. He needed the Phoenix Force to do that. Never fear though, after Doom was defeated, the Phoenix Force managed to later resurrect Logan, because that's how the Phoenix Force do. So even though Logan was like, I give up my life and my power, for you, Thor. He's still gotta come back after. What do you think is the most powerful version of Thor? Which alternate Thor would you like to learn more about? And are there any alternates that you'd like to see make an appearance in, I don't know, the MCU? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I am your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you, as always, to stay nerdy, YouTube.